Love, fear, choose one. Thank you, Random RV, parked on random Bozeman Street, for inspiring this week's post.
Monsters wanna talk to me.
Hello, Monster Whisperers. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to engage in our ongoing adventure of leaning into our monsters and exploring our identities. I hope you're well. Yes, it's true. Random RV with the right message. I was walking to my car after work this week when I saw it. I read it, took about 5 more steps, then I paused. It was so clear. This monster whispering journey really comes down to the sage wisdom of the Random RV. Love, fear, choose one. I turned around, walked back, and took that photo. It wasn't until later that I realized my monster photobombed me, but that's cool. We have a good enough relationship that I appreciated his involvement. So here's why this stuck out to me. If you remember our natural tendencies when we begin to acknowledge the presence of our monsters, we'll either try to fight them or ignore them, right? But what are the causes of these two responses? Fear. This is literally the fight or flight mechanism in response to fear. It's just that it's not an external threat, but an internal threat. And remember, most fear is created from a lack of knowledge or understanding. We simply don't know enough about a scary thing to realize it doesn't have to be feared. In these cases, to suggest the alternate response of love sounds crazy. That can actually sound more scary than whatever originally created the fear, because when we open ourselves up to showing love, we also open ourselves up to the potential for pain, the potential for rejection. But isn't this really because we're giving love while expecting something in return? Or maybe it's better to say we're hoping for something in return. We're hoping that love will be reciprocated. Some would say, then that's not really love. And I would say, yes, that's absolutely right. Real love happens without conditions. There's no give and take. It's simply just given, period. That's how the phrase perfect love casts out all fear becomes true. When love is given without expectations, there's no longer a condition for fear to exist. Now let's tie this back to identity, because again, the goal of sitting with our monsters is to better understand our identities. When we live out of fear, the negative expectation is grounded in someone or something being able to invalidate us or our feelings. The wrong idea of love does the same thing. Expecting a positive reciprocation from our false love is hoping someone will validate us by returning love to us. We look for external validation when we don't have a strong enough understanding of ourself. I fight with this regularly, but I'm more aware of it now, so I can pause and say to myself, remember your identity. Remember what you're learning about who you are. Reevaluate this moment from that perspective and understanding. That usually helps me recenter and refocus my perspective. It helps me approach the same situation from a place of strength of identity rather than need for validation. What I just described is how sitting with my monsters has progressed. The first few times of coming face to face with our monsters are very hard. But through that you recognize your true self, which also helps you recognize your false self. And the more time you take in getting to know your true self helps you to access that part of your identity more quickly in everyday circumstances. So I notice something is off. My need for validation doesn't feel like me. And I pause. Pausing to remember my identity, then responding to my circumstances from that position. So hopefully this helps all of us to be more aware of our perspectives. Are we choosing love or are we choosing fear? If you aren't intentionally choosing love, you may be unintentionally choosing fear. Let's live with more intention and more love. That's it for today's post. Find some time this week to ask yourself this question. What is one thing you can do this week to live with more intention and with more love? Till next time, have a great day and keep whispering.
Monsters wanna talk to me.